Hey guys, we're here with Kip Moore, who is currently traveling on the roadway. He just wrapped up a whole long day, so we get him in raw. What do you want to
Yes,
call
you do.
this? Your raw moment with Kip Moore. How are you?
There you go. I mean, I'm fantastic. Yeah, it's been a lot for the last 7 days promoting this new record, and
Sure.
I was just now leaving the podcast and a couple other interviews, and riding to another location for another one. So I was going to try to catch you while I'm doing that.
Well, I appreciate you making time for me. So,
Yeah,
the
man.
reason that we're talking about this, well, we have the album out now called Solitary Tracks, and I definitely want to talk all about that. But
Yeah,
you're also going to be here in Boston in just a few months in September with Billy. That's going to be pretty good.
yeah. Me and Billy Currington. It's not going to be pretty good, man. I don't know when the last time you've seen one of my shows, but it's gonna be a time, that's for sure.
I appreciate the correction. I do. I
Yeah,
do.
I'm just messing with you, giving you a hard time, man. Pretty
Well,
good, pretty good is just like the word sure to me. When somebody
sure.
says sure,
Yeah.
I'd rather hear any word in the English dictionary than sure.
You know what? That's a good point. Yeah, I don't think of much more words that I'd hate more. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
or
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 if
just like
somebody,
or just like the word, just like the letter K.
well, it's
And
not
give
like
me
a full-fledged commitment. It's like, all right. Anyway, but that's nothing to describe your show. It's going to be
There you go.
incredible. Is that a little bit better?
That man. There
Okay.
you go. There
So
you go.
have you and Billy been friends for a while? What's that connection like off the stage?
We've been buddies for a while, and now I think we're friends. We've known each other for a long time, and I did one of my first tours with Billy, and so I'm
So you
always
have toured
grateful.
with him before.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
I toured with him. I was his opening act back in my first major tour back in 2012,
Okay.
right as we put out Truck
Yep.
and Up All Night, right as the Up All Night record came out, and
Sure.
and I really started garnering a fan base off of that tour. And just through the years, we've had a lot of similar interests, and we've seen each other in passing. And I've seen him in Hawaii through the years surfing, and we'll surf together a little bit here and there and exchange pleasantries. And but in the last couple of years, we've been meeting up for a lot of coffee out there, and eating together and surfing together and talking, and actually becoming friends. And so we were just kind of talking about, man, it'd be cool to put the band back together and
Yeah.
do a tour together. So that's what we're doing now. And yeah, headed your way.
Well, that's a really cool dynamic. Like usually people don't
We're
have
we
much insight into what that looks like behind the scenes, but you were literally surfing together.
Yeah, and we do such different things artistically. I love what Billy does, but we're very different artists.
Yeah.
And Billy is one of the best pure country singers to me in the world. That guy can sing the phone book, but I do a very different thing. My music has always kind of walked on the fringe of rock and roll a lot more, and I lean into what my strengths are. And I arrange my songs a lot in that rock and roll capacity, and then I craft it with a country lyric approach. Um, but melodically and sonically, I walk the fringe of you know other genres, and
Yeah.
all this chalk on my shirts from climbing. So that's
Oh,
what
really?
yeah, yeah.
Like
So I'm
what?
just
Do you do like an indoor rock climbing place?
yeah. Early this morning, there's
Nice.
a bouldering gym close by.
Oh,
So
cool. So the
yeah,
tour is starting at the end of June. When does rehearsals start for something like that?
we'll start rehearsing in about 2 or 3 weeks, because I do a full month in Canada.
Okay.
And then that's how the tour starts, like late March. We do all through April. We get back early May, and then I'll do all of May into mid-June in Europe. So a month and a half of that. And then the minute I get back from that, me and Billy start together. So we'll start rehearsing late March. We'll rehearse probably 3 or 4 straight days, and then try to incorporate this new music into the show somehow.
So what are you looking forward to the most about being on the road? Besides like cuz everyone says I can't wait to see the fans, but is there something small that people might not understand, something about touring that
Yeah, I
really
mean,
sticks
for
with
me,
you?
it's how do I say this? We are still in a world of in a world of your show being strapped to a computer and a lot of tracks, we are still a living and breathing live band.
Yeah.
We're still using old amps. We're still, we're sound checking for an hour to 2 hours every single day and working out new arrangements for things. So for me, what I look forward to is getting back to what it feels like being on the stage with a group of guys where there's things that are ebbing and flowing through the night and changing, and you never know what somebody's going to play or do. And that's the exciting part about live music.
Hmm. Yeah, that's something that country really does organically and very well. So I'm happy about that. That it's just a different show when you go to a country show. I want to talk about the album because it's being called your biggest album yet. What does that statement in itself mean to you? And do you feel like this is a turning point in your career? Is this going to be like the new direction of your music, or is it just another chapter?
I just think it's another chapter. I'm always, you know, changing and flowing with whatever I feel at that particular time in my life. I'm always trying to be authentic to what my spirit is at that time and how I feel internally. So, you know, there's no telling. I'm already in the process of writing a whole nother project right now, and it feels completely different than the one I'm just put out 4 days ago.
Yeah.
So I'm just always kind of in a different space mentally from day to day, from week to week, month to month. And I don't know sonically which direction I'm going to go with this new record, but I do know that it's going to be very different than the one I've just put out.
So you're making those decisions about a future record right now on the tail of a record just coming out. But
Yeah.
back to the record we're talking about, Solitary Tracks. Was there a song on that record that when you were writing it or putting it together, it was like a direction shift? Like this was the direction I need to go with this. Like how do you
Well,
describe that?
I can tell you this. I write every single morning. So it's a process that I do every single morning. But that doesn't mean that I'm always in a writing cycle. And the way this record started was I wrote High Hopes, Living Side, and Solitary Tracks all in about a week
Okay.
together. And if you listen to those three songs, there's very much a common thread woven between those three. And there was definitely a searching that was happening within. There was an unpacking of things that I had buried, feelings that I had buried, and trying to look at them and make my peace with them. And it was in that time when those three songs came to life that I knew that I was in a record cycle. And I was like, oh, okay, here we go. And so then it became, as I'm writing, lyrically, there's a thread. So now what's the sonic thread going to be? And it was finding certain tones that I wanted to stick with to be a thread throughout, and drum sounds and those kind of things. So that's when you start trying to create what the vibe of the record's going to be. And I wanted it to feel a little haunting at times. Like Solitary Tracks and Living Side are both, very haunting throughout the verses, and even High Hopes for that matter. So there was definitely a theme and direction once those three started, and then everything else kind of fell into place.
What does it mean to you to be in the room in a conversation about the production itself of the record sonically?
Well, I mean, that's what comes natural to me. So I think that, it's Jaron knows my value in that, and I know Jaron's value in that. So there's a lot of respect as we're communicating about the direction and talking, production ideas, for that matter. Um, so, I mean, I've always been heavily, heavily involved with that. I mean, I've been a co-producer or solo produced all my records. So nothing really changed in that standpoint. And Jaron and I have been working together for so long, and he's crazy talented, but
Yeah.
he knows what I bring to the table, and I know what he brings to the table. I think that's the important part.
Well, that's awesome. The new record is out now, Solitary Tracks, and Kip Moore is going to be here with Billy Currington on the 19th of September at the new music venue, the MGM Music Hall. That's going to be pretty good. Right
Yeah,
outside
man.
Fenway, by the way, which is going to be maybe
Can't
they'll let
we're,
you
we're
in.
we're stoked. I hope so. I hope so. I'm ready to walk around it.
Yeah, a lot of people. Parmalee was just here a few weeks ago, and they were dying to go inside, but it was February at the time, so there's snow everywhere.
Yeah,
Well, hopefully the weather's good when you're here. We can get that done for you, and I appreciate you taking some time for me.
you bet, buddy. Take
All
care of
right,
him,
have
man.
a good one. Thanks.
Later.